Hello, welcome back YouTubers, artists, and students. One thing that is overlooked by many people is how central art is to literacy development. As you may not know, I have a reading degree and an art degree as well. And I have some practices that are based on Common Core and a few other teaching techniques that will help you approach and respond to any type of artwork, which in turn will make you a better artist and a better reader and then a better writer. So I used to teach in Asheville, North Carolina, and my school paid a high-dollar literacy expert to give us the secret of high test scores on standardized tests. The interesting thing was his secret was simple. It's to write every day. Because writing means that you have fine motor skills, you understand spelling, comprehension, processing, interpreting. Because writing is extremely complex. But the problem is, writing is extremely complex. So before we learn to read and write, we learn to speak. And before we learn to speak, we learn to observe and see. So my understanding is that art is actually foundational to all of this. Notice the earliest signs of human intelligence in cave paintings. The precursor to written language is art. Does that mean that art is basic and lesser form of communication? No, it just means it's more foundational. For example, when we draw the letter A, we first have to learn how to draw and understand what a triangle is, right? So take a minute and close your eyes and think of an apple. Describe what you see to me. Is it red, yellow, or green? Either way, our minds think in terms of pictures, not letters or binary codes. In other words, our minds process the world visually. So what I'm saying is we learn to see and observe first, and then second, every teacher knows that students will write exactly how they've learned to speak. So some of the tips I have are not just for classroom teachers, but for every teacher in every special area as well. So my first guiding method is to have a few key phrases that you use every day that are common. So I often use the ones I learned from model schools or the International Center for Leadership and Education. And that is, what do you notice? What do you wonder? What do you speculate? There are some other ones you can use. That's just the one I learned. What have you enjoyed? What do you suggest next? Things like that. When it's a common phrase that's used in every class, it makes it easier for the student to understand what's going on and what the question is. I also use that pattern or order. Every student in my class can notice something about an artwork. And then moving up, fewer students can wonder about it because it's a higher order thinking. And then last, to speculate what happens next or what you would predict, that's a lot harder. So only one or two may be able to answer that question. Another key phrase that I use is connection. So when I ask a student like, boys and girls, why do you believe this artwork is blue? I get a lot of strange answers like, my mom's favorite color is blue, Mr. Grant. And I say, oh, okay, that's called a connection. It doesn't answer my question. It only takes us down these old rabbit trails that no one wants to follow and takes us off the point or the topic. So I like to answer those connections at the end. I used to make a symbol with my hands like a connection, or do a number 1, 2, or 3 on my fingers and do finger talk, which I can't really do it with 52 classes and 1,000 students, but a classroom teacher would be able to do some kind of hand signal during class to not interrupt the rest of the class. The second thing is having students answer the questions about an artwork when they observe an artwork with the question in the answer. Now, another teacher friend of mine calls those quanswers. I thought that was pretty clever. So if the question is, so what color calms people down? The student will respond, oh, so the color that calms people down is blue. Do you see how they repeated the question and the answer? That's going to really foundationally help them as a writer later on. And the third thing and final thing is to speak in complete sentences. like we said, students will write exactly how they speak. So learning a couple words from Common Core have the students realize that the artwork is their text. So for instance, you could look at this old artwork of mine that I'm displaying and say, what do you speculate this artwork means? What is the meaning of it? And then when you respond with answering, I think the meaning of this artwork is blah, 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 whatever your answer would be. And then you would say, my evidence of that. You would use the word evidence. Your text-based evidence is what you see. So if you started each day with an artwork or a song and you ask them, what do you notice? What do you wonder about this? Or speculate. You're not teaching them what to think. You're teaching them how to think. You're teaching them to seek new perspectives and listen to the opinions of others, and that their opinion matters as well. You'd be surprised how many students, when they come to art, just won't engage. They won't go to the deeper spots and seek wisdom or depth of understanding. I believe when we teach through the lenses of the arts that we are truly developing students to think, which in turn makes them great readers and writers. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope this helps.